Yeah. Full court press. CJ. Yeah, what we talking about? 94 feet, crossover bodies, dropping J's up. Players, this elite, your shots on body blocking halftime. We break it down, we gon' call your bluff, it's past time. You recognize, boy, press. We got the heat down in Florida with the keys. Yes, we the best. Magic, we flash with them fans, listen, won't see the best. Show rise from the airwaves like all stars in them stairways. Local rockin', we not stopping, got hot topics like every day. Them trades hit that deadline, my team chasing the big rings. We ball, check that headline. Don't mess it up when you big teams. The only station giving y'all that info with that real talk. Don't be trying to contest it. Go toe to toe and get wheeled off. We shooting from deeper than that report from the bleachers. If you ain't on your game, then we got something to teach you. Tie your laces up, might get shook up out of them sneakers. That triple threat, bless your eardrum straight out of your speakers. Go from that black top to the hardwood. Locker room to that press day. Got the scoop on them contracts, new prospects and best plays. NBA defined by the grind, in between the lines, full court pressing, finessing, read the signs. What we talking about? 94 feet, crossover bodies, dropping J's up. Players, this elite, your shots on body blocking.
Good morning, basketball world. This is the Around the Association podcast, and I'm your host, Danny Thompson, checking with you on Tuesday morning. And it is a wonderful day in the NBA. And guess what? We're going to catch you up on everything you missed last night in the league. A couple set of games last night, very, very interesting results. And before we get into it, check me out on Twitter at Danny3 Thompson. That's DANNY, 3 Thompson on Twitter, as well as follow the page Around the Association, which is on Facebook, as well as AroundTheAssociation.com website. Be back up and running sometime later on this week. Also, at the same time, check up with the podcast every day. Get your notifications up. That way you know when the podcast is dropping. Follow it on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Spotify, Podcast, Podomatic, Google Podcasts. Any place where you find a podcast, you will find this podcast. So, big shout out to our good friends at Valor, as well as my main man Cam James for the introduction of the theme song, as usual. Full Court Press. Like I said, check out Cam James' new album, Sad Boy Summer, one of the best albums of 2019. Speaking of 2019, it's a crazy night. We're almost at the end of the year, and guess what? Monday night's games were led by a return of 2019 to a former Pacer that has not made his return home. And last night, Paul George played his first game as back in Indiana as a member of the LA Clippers this time. And you know what? The Clippers, who did not have Kawhi Leonard, took care of business last night. Paul George had 36 points, 9 rebounds, hit 7 3-pointers, had 5 assists. This was George's first game back in Indianapolis since the trade, and his Clippers won 110-99 over the Pacers last night. It was kind of a little bit of a short-handed LA team last night. Like I said, they played the night before in Washington on Sunday. Was missing some key guys, like I said, especially guys like Kawhi Leonard, who was not in the lineup due to his knee situation, and not playing too many minutes on back-to-back with kind of a knee restriction situation. We don't want to say load management, but it's kind of the same aspect. Montrezl Harrell had 26 points, 8 rebounds off the bench, and Pat Beverly was Mr. Everywhere on the board, all across the board. Let's say 11 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals to lead the Clippers. Pacers on the other end had 18 points and 22 rebounds from Domantas Sabonis, 20 points from Malcolm Brogdon. But Brogdon, uncharacteristically, only had 2 assists in the game, had 3 turnovers. He was pretty much being, especially his playmaking-wise, being shut down by Beverly on as well, and Doug McDermott had 17 points in the game. But the real story of this game was the fact of the Clippers took control in the late part of the second quarter, got the lead as many as 25 in this game, 24 in this game. It was just really much of the Pacers not being able to stop George. It was really the Pacers tried to get back in this game. They got the lead down in the last couple of minutes, but it was just too much of George, who was just hitting shot after shot after shot. Also, he hit 7 threes, which is a season high in this game as well, too. It was a close game. Like I said, the Pacers fought back, just could not get over that hump. They got, like I said, the lead up to as many as 24. Pacers made a run late. Couldn't get it together. Clippers will continue their East Coast road trip as they go down to the defending champions Toronto Raptors in the third game of the 6th-game road trip later on this week, and the Pacers host Boston on Wednesday in a rematch of their first-round series. Other games on the schedule, including the game of the night that we talked about at the very beginning, the Orlando Magic falling short to the Milwaukee Bucks 110-101. Giannis, 32 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists in this game. The only thing Giannis didn't do right was Giannis missed half his free throws, with 6-12 from the free throw line. But let's just say this: the Bucks are for real. The Bucks are the best team in basketball, and guess what? The Bucks have won their 15th straight game in a row. The Magic got a big game from Evan Fournier, who had a team-high 26 points. 23 points came off the bench from Terrence Ross. And Markelle Fultz filled the stat sheet, 13 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds for Orlando. Outside Giannis' 32, they got 20 points and 9 rebounds for Chris Middleton. Dante DiVincenzo had 12 points off the bench. But like I said, this game was really all about the Bucks controlling it at the end of the first quarter and didn't lead. They didn't trail after the midway part of the first quarter. It was really a Bucks domination from start to finish. They just got killed on the boards. They were plus 10 on the boards last night. They hit a lot of shots. The Magic got the closest to 6 within 50 seconds left, with 50 seconds left in the game, and that's pretty much it. Bucks are 21-3. They are tied with Lakers for the best record in the league, but Milwaukee is dangerous in this league. Problem with the Magic with last night was 29% from the floor shooting, including 14% in the first half from behind the three-point line. It was just a great defensive effort for Coach Budenholzer's team and the Bucks. They got close. The real situation was Mo Bamba did get hurt with a left knee contusion. He did return, but like I said, the Magic don't need any more major injuries going into this. Bucks actually scored lower than their normal average. Bucks normally average 121 a game. They have 110 last night. Good job by the Magic defense last night. We'll start from top to bottom with the rest of the NBA. Early games last night out in Boston last night. The returning Gordon Hayward gave the Celtics enough power to take care of the Cavs last night, 110-88. Boston's down 17-5. Kemba Walker 22 points, 7 assists for the Celtics. Hayward had 14 points and 5 rebounds in his first game back after his hand injury. The good news with Hayward is that he was not on a minute restriction. Even better, they blew out the Cavs, so you had to play too many minutes last night. Jason Tatum had 20 points and 7 rebounds. 19 points, 11 rebounds. Jaylen Brown had 20 points and 7 rebounds for the Cavs in the game. It was pretty much a balanced effort. Boston had all 5 of their starters in double figures in the game. All 5 starters were in double figures, and they won the game without Marcus Smart too. But guess what? Every Celtic who played scored. Cleveland was led by Jordan Clarkson had 19 points, and Tristan Thompson had 17 points and 11 rebounds. Kevin Love struggled 3 of 12 shooting from the floor. Just only had measly 7 points, but he also added 10 rebounds in the game. But like I said, this was a huge win for Boston. Now getting Gordon Hayward back in the mix. Hayward did play 26 minutes as well. Really, it was an easy night for the Celtics in the office. The Toronto Raptors held on to beat the Chicago Bulls 93-92 on the road in Chicago. Pascal Siakam scored 22 points. And then what happened? They just rode Siakam's wave, and then Kyle Lowry hit some shots down the stretch. And they are getting set for the return game later on this week with Kawhi Leonard, and it's a good way to win because you don't want to be losing going into this game. It's going to be interesting. Siakam had 22 points in the game. Like I said, Norman Powell had 17 points, including 6 in the fourth quarter. As they held on, as Zach LaVine missed a running jump shot at the end of the game to give the Bulls take the lead. LaVine finished with 20 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Tomas Satoransky had 10 points, 11 rebounds. Also from the point guard position, the Bulls did have 6 guys in double figures. On the Raptors side of things, like I said, the Siakam 22 points, Norman Powell had 17, Serge Ibaka 11 points, 14 rebounds, and only 18 minutes off the bench last night. Raptors got a lot of contribution from everywhere else, and Kyle Lowry still is struggling. He shot 3 of 15, but he also contributed 7 rebounds and 7 assists for the Raptors. Out in Houston, it was one of the 2 buzzer beaters of the night. Nikola Bjelica. Nama Bjelica had a huge buzzer beater shot after a 3-point at the buzzer to give the Kings a 119-118 victory of the Rockets. Crazy part was Russell Westbrook had just taken the lead with 1 second to go. And you thought the Rockets would have won, but Bjelica hit a shot at the buzzer. It was about a good 35-footer, it looks like, but it was a big guy who hit the big space. Bjelica he just rushed a shot. It was 1 second left in the game. He hit it. Buddy Hield led the Kings with 26. Bjelica had 17 points in the game. He also hit knocked down 3 3-pointers. Buddy hit 6 of 3s by himself. For Houston on the game, Houston was led by Westbrook, had 34 points, 8 assists. Actually shot the ball pretty decent tonight, 13 and 17 from the floor. And James Harden had 27 points, 10 assists. And guess what? The Rockets also had 2 guys with double-doubles. Clint Capella, 13 points, 17 rebounds, and PJ Tucker, 10 points, 19 rebounds. But guess what? The Kings are the ones that took care of the victory on the night. They just got contributions from 6 different guys in double figures, and Trevor Ariza is returned back to Houston, 8 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals with a block in 25 minutes off the bench. Swiss Army knife, you want to say? Exactly. The other buzzer beater tonight came out in New Orleans last night. Derrick Rose hit a buzzer beater 0.3 seconds left in the game to give the Pistons a victory. As Derrick Rose says, he's built for shit like this. He's built for the shit. Just quoting what he said. Rose once again is making his case for 6th man of the year. Rose 21.7 assists, but he's the one that took control of the game at the end. Blake Griffin struggled, 5 points, only 4 rebounds on his 1 of 9 shooting, but it's okay. When Derrick Rose scores 21 points on 9 of 17 shooting, you let the man shoot. Pelicans were led by Brandon Ingram at 31 points and 6 rebounds. Jrue Holiday, nice all-around game, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. For the Pelicans, also the Pelicans had a different bit of line change last night. They brought Lonzo Ball off the bench and started JJ Redick in his place. Redick only scored 3 points on 1 of 10 shooting. But this was a back-and-forth affair. Rose hit the game winner, a 14-foot shot in the 14-foot jumper with 3.3 seconds left of the game. Like I said, it was just one of those games where it is what it is, and guess what? The Pistons had found a way to win. Now, only if the Pistons find a way to beat the Charlotte Hornets, they'd be even at a better place. Good news with the Pistons is that they're not too far out of the Eastern Conference playoff phase, because guess what? It's the Eastern Conference. In the fourth quarter, Derrick Rose did go 7 of 8. In the fourth quarter, knocked down both his 3-pointers in the game. Like I said, it was really all about Derrick Rose in this game. Pelicans are still struggling to figure out how they're going to do. At least they played better than the 46-point loss they had against Dallas. Yeah, I know. Pistons are now 3-9 on the road. And like I said, you got to win games like this. The Pistons will play an interesting game in Mexico City against the Dallas Mavericks on Thursday night, which will be very interesting watching to see the Pistons try to stop Luka Doncic, while the Pelicans will try to end the Bucks' 15-game winning streak. Good luck with that one. Out in Phoenix, the Suns 125-109 over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves have lost their 3rd game in the last 4 nights. You can tell they were tired. Devin Booker, 26 points and 7 assists. Ricky Rubio, a nice double-double against his former team, 16 points and 14 assists in the game. It was really all about what the Suns did in this game. It was close throughout the first part of the game, but guess what? The Suns pulled away in the after halftime. They led by as many as 19 in this game. Kelly Oubre on his birthday. Yes, happy birthday, Kelly Oubre. He finished the game with 24 points in 33 minutes. They also got 20 points in 9 rebounds from Dario Saric. And rookie Cam Johnson, 10 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists off the bench. As Mikal Bridges also filled the stat sheet. Like I said, another stat sheet filler, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks from the youngster from Villanova. Minnesota was led by 33 points and 15 rebounds from Karl-Anthony Towns. Andrew Wiggins had 23 points. But really, this was all about what the Suns did in this game. They shot the ball very well from the field. Like I said, Booker had the 26. Oubre was 8 of 15 from the floor. And guess what? It was crazy because the Suns, as far as good as the Suns were, this is the first time they won at home since November 14th, almost a month. They had a 4-game losing streak inside their home building, which is Talking Stick Arena. This is not, like I said, on the Timberwolves side of things, it's not a very good road trip. They've got to get it together before they get themselves too far out. But the good news is the Suns have now tied the Oklahoma City Thunder for 7th place in the Western Conference. And speak of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Thunder took care of another victory on the road last night in Utah, 104-90. Dennis Schroeder, 27 points in the game to lead the Thunder. Thunder won Thunder's on a winning streak. They got another big game from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who scored 20 points. Steven Adams filled the stat sheet up with 13 points and 11 rebounds. Big story of the game was the Jazz got outbenched. The reserves for the Thunder outscored them 45-23 in the game. It was just too much of the Thunder's bench. Like I said, they had the Thunder's bench was led by the Schroeder's 27 points, but also rookie Luhes Dort from Arizona State, big time scorer, scored 9 points off the bench for the Jazz, for the Thunder of the game. On the Jazz side of things, led by Donovan Mitchell, 26 points, 6 rebounds. Rudy Gobert had 19 points and 17 rebounds for the Jazz. Jazz are struggling. No Mike Conley in the lineup last night with the hamstring injury. Joe Ingles came in the starting lineup and contributed 9 points and 8 assists, 4 rebounds and 3 steals in his 34 minutes of play in the night. But like I said, this big shots to the Thunder. Thunder are finding ways to win, and guess what? They're now tied for 7th in the Western Conference. That's an interesting stat because, I mean, You wouldn't have thought at the beginning of the season Thunder being the playoff chase this early, but guess what? And they did it without Danilo Gallinari as well, too. Had a left ankle sprain, no Terrence Ferguson. It was big. Thunder forced 15 turnovers, and like I said, without the Jazz not having Mike Conley, there wasn't really a guy who had to kind of change rotation, especially with putting Ingles in the starting lineup. Hopefully Conley will be back by sometime into the week. Bojanovic didn't play well either. Shot 4-17 for the field for the Jazz. Jazz are sliding. They're now 13-11. And the final game of the night, the Memphis Grizzlies took care of the Golden State Warriors 110-102. The return of Ja Morant back to the starting lineup, and guess what? You can tell the Grizzlies were a completely different team. 26.7 rebounds from the rookie Morant. Jaren Jackson Jr. had 16 points. Jonas Valanciunas 13 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 assists for the Memphis Grizzlies in the game. The Warriors were led by D'Angelo Russell, 18 points and 7 assists. Alec Burks was a nice little game all across the board, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists in the game. This was a game where the Grizzlies led by as many as 15. The Warriors kept chipping away at the lead, but the closest they got was midway through the third quarter. The crazy part with this game was there was only 3 lead changes in the game. The Grizzlies dominated throughout. The Grizzlies, like I said, with the Grizzlies situation with injuries is that Ja Morant is on kind of a watch and go moment. He got cleared to play earlier in the day, and you can tell that he was excited to be back on the floor. Morant did finish the game shooting at 8 of 14. He got to the free throw line because he was 7-8 from the line. Even knocked down 3 3-pointers. Big story of the game was the Grizzlies knocked down 15 threes compared to the Warriors, who are used to knocking down threes, only hitting 11. And the other part was the Grizzlies, even though they got out free throwed, they just shot the ball very well, finished the game at 50% shooting from the game, while the Warriors only shot 37.6% as a team. So Tuesday night NBA is always a little bit kind of light on the schedule. It's only a 4-game schedule. Let's go over real quick. Game of the night will be on TNT, the early game at 8 o'clock. You got the Denver Nuggets taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. The battle of Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic, 2 of the all-star centers in the NBA playing, 2 of the best centers in the NBA going at it head to head. Will Ben Simmons shoot another 3-pointer? I mean, he's hit both of his 3-pointers at home this season. Let's see if he takes another one. The Denver Nuggets will use Gary Harris, is one of the best defensive players in the league, as well as Jamal Murray, to try to keep Simmons away from everything on the floor. Key got to watch this game. If Josh Richardson is healthy and good to go, it makes the Sixers a much, much better team. Out in Charlotte, the Washington Wizards take on the Charlotte Hornets. This game should be entertaining and high scoring. The Wizards are one of the highest scoring teams in the league, and Charlotte can also knock down threes because of the dynamic duo of Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham. Just remember, the Hornets do not play well when Graham doesn't shoot well. Just look the other night when Devontae Graham, I think, was 2 for 11 from the 3-point line. The real key for the Wizards is that outside of Bradley Beal, they are getting scoring. If they can keep the Hornets under 110 points, the Wizards have every chance to win this game as well, too. Watch Davis Bertans. If you're Charlotte, he's been killing teams off the bench with a 3-point shot. Out in Miami, the Atlanta Hawks take on the Miami Heat in a divisional matchup. The Hawks are under an interesting last 24-40 hours, especially after the rumors of Trae Young having kind of a little bit of a upset moment as his team struggled to finding ways to win games. The Hawks are struggling. Remember, the Hawks still have John Collins. They just got Kevin Huerter back in the lineup. The Hawks are now 6-17. This is not what Atlanta expected, as they were thinking they were going to make a run at the Eastern Conference playoffs. The more losses they take before Collins gets back, the worse it's going to get when Collins gets back and try to get back in the playoff hunt. Miami's led by Jimmy Butler. And a slew of injuries. Not sure if Goran Dragic or Justice Winslow will be in the lineup. If not, they've got Kendrick Nunn. You have Tyler Hero. Guys who have been playing really, really solid basketball, and Butler is playing arguably some of the best basketball of his career, as the Heat are now 17-6. A late game out in Portland. The New York Knicks will travel to the Portland Trail Blazers. Carmelo playing his former team with his new team and his new surroundings. The Blazers need every win possible. They have been struggling to stay consistent. The Knicks are the perfect team to start that against. The good news is the Knicks played really, really well under Mike Miller, only losing by a point. And say only by a point on Saturday night against the Pacers. Hopefully this is the game where Damian Lillard and company can get back on their winning ways, because right now the Blazers need everything they possibly can going into this. And the thing with the Knicks is that the Knicks have not played well before Mike Miller took over the job, because the previous losses under David Fizdale's administration were by 44-37. Yeah. I'm not sure if the Blazers win this one. This might be a game where Carmelo goes off. So, before we check out the show, every single day, Monday through Friday, here on Spotify, as well as iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, any place you can find a podcast. Check out the website, which is roundtheassociation.com, and the Rounding Association Facebook page. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow to catch you back up on what you missed on the Rounding Association. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Trackaholic music. Go for launch. Yeah.